So here you can look at this cute bear that I got at the fireside instead of just staring at the ceiling while I tell my story. Isn't he cute? I got the moose too. I love fireside. Anyhow, so I'm thinking, I'm ruminating, because when you go through a lot of trauma from people, you ruminate all the shit that happened. So I'm trying to think about like the beginning of moving into Stalker Hill. So I'm working at Deer Park, and the late girl, my manager Cassie, is like, "Oh, well, you can't stay homeless and live in your truck. So just keep on going and try to get into this apartment complex." So finally, the really nice guy that used to own it, Jeff, he finally let me get in there. Okay, so I get in there, and when I first get into the apartment, it's like not even. It's like really bad. And I had to fix the sink spray faucet. I had to fix the light. It wasn't painted or anything. It wasn't really even cleaned. There was like I don't know what was going on with the woman before me that lived there, but there was like some kind of artwork on the wall, and it was like some guy being like pooped out of a turkey on the side of the wall with her like crossing off the days like she was in jail or something. I don't know. It was really bizarre. So I said to Jeff, I was like, that's interesting. He's like, "Oh, yeah, we had an artist in here before." I was like, "Oh, okay." So anyhow, so I had no furniture or anything, and I met this guy, Mike, and he gave me a chair. So I had a chair, I had a bed. I didn't have a chance to get shit out of my storage. And that's another thing, storage in Kingston. I swear to God, it seemed like somebody went through my storage in Kingston, but I can't prove that. But it just was weird, the lock and everything, and it just seemed like things were rummaged through my storage, but no, I wouldn't be surprised in Kingston. Anyhow, so I'm in this new apartment, kind of happy to actually just have a shower, because I was living in my truck and I was taking showers out in the wilderness, and oh God, that was actually kind of fun, I'll have to admit. But anyhow, so then Stanley takes over. All right, Jeff leaves. Stanley takes over. And the first thing he does is he shuts off cable. It's fine. He's like, "Oh, you can go to the library, blah, 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 whatever." So he shuts off cable. Then he was like trying to get up into the attic for some reason. He was saying like, "Oh, I don't know." Trying to get up in the attic. He had some people come in, like, I don't know. There was like two guys came one day. I don't know. Just everything seemed sketchy. Okay. And then he was like, "Oh, I need to show your apartment. I can't get into number 9, so can I just show your apartment real quick?" And so this lady comes barging in, and I was like, "No, I don't feel like you didn't give me any time to show the apartment. Like you're supposed to give a notice. Like he thinks he can do whatever he wants." So, well, when you have money and you have special connections, yeah, you can. So so this lady comes barging into my apartment, and she's looking around, and she's like smelling like really nosy. I don't even know who the hell that was. And I was like, "What the hell?" And I just felt like my privacy was like really being invaded. So I was like, "Okay." I never like lived in an apartment before, so I don't know really the laws and stuff. I started researching because I was like, damn, if this shit's going down, like, it was constant. Okay. So she comes, he doesn't even give me a thing. And so I didn't have a lease for a really long time. All right. And he was charging everybody different prices. Like, he just priced me out of there. But anyways, nobody cares about that. But yeah, so he was changing all the prices. Like, everybody was paying something different, even though the apartments were pretty much the same. Then like Ed started talking about it. Ed's like, "Well, yeah, he's charging me this, he's charging me that." And then he just like kept on raising the price over and over and over again. And like, I don't even know what the law is for that. Like, I don't know if New Hampshire even has laws about raising it, but yeah, he just kept on raising it. And then when he finally, oh, there was so much. It was unbelievable. I'm trying to think back. I'm trying to go from the very beginning when all the crap started, all the little episodes of stuff that he was doing. Yeah, it was just really, really bizarre. And oh, the whiteboard. I already said this online, but the whiteboard. So I go in and there's a whiteboard. So I guess they put the criminals here and they want to like, they put the criminals at this place because there's no other place for them to go, I guess. I don't know. I guess it has a bad reputation. I don't know. But there was all these like cop cards at the bottom, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Like everybody's name is on there, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't know these people, and I don't want my name up there. And somebody put my name up there with my number, and I didn't even have the number because I didn't even have a phone with the number that was connected. So I was like, I told them I didn't want that up there, and then I erased it. I said, you don't have my permission to put that up there, and you know, I am a victim of domestic violence, so I was just like, I don't want that up there. And I told him. And then when I went back there, it was up there again. So that I feel is evasion of privacy. And I don't know. It was just, he would just say stuff to get me, like, he was like, oh, we're going to put solar panels. Like, he was always talking about solar panels. It was bullshit. He's never going to do it. And he's like, oh, we're going to put solar panels right where your garden is. Like, my other garden, because I got kicked out of the first one, so I had to make another garden on the hill. So he's like, all of a sudden he's saying, like, oh, I'm going to, like, put solar panels right where your garden is. I said, Stanley, that doesn't make any sense. I said, why don't you just put it on the back of the building? I said, that building is in the sunshine in the back all day long. And then he had some girl painting, but they were only painting, like, near my window. And she never finished it, I don't think. But for some reason, this girl was, like, painting. He hired her, but he wouldn't hire me for painting. Although I did paint the whole front. I also fixed a window that was all rotted. And I painted the whole front of the building. And I painted the kitchen. And cleaned out, like, all the windows had mold and disgusting. They were all gross. I also cleaned out all the windows and did those. But he hires this girl, and, like, I come home one night, and they're, like, right below my window. And he's, like, singing. Da, 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 I don't know. And then they're talking about, I don't know. I don't even know. But I think they put gang stalkers in this fucking complex. I'm just going to say it. I think they put people in there, and that's what they do. Then there was this other girl that ended up managing to get a dog, all right, in number 7. That was before the other guy. And, like, she seemed fine. She's like, oh, Luann, I want to give you, you know, she was nice. And, but then her dog attacked me. And, like, Stanley's walking by with this big grin on his face. And that was when I was, like, trying to talk about the emotional support dogs. So I was talking to people about the emotional support dogs, and, like, I don't know, I probably talked about it at Deer Park. And, like, so now I look at Stanley's page, and he's, like, making fun of emotional support dogs. And then all of a sudden, like, this girl's got an emotional support dog, and her dog attacks me. And, like, he's walking by with this Duper's Delight grin on his face. I don't know, the whole place was weird, okay? That's all I gotta say. Yeah, and then, I don't know, it was just like, and then there was this guy, Shane, that lived there. He was, I don't even know about him. I got sick a bunch of times there. I don't know what that was about. Oh, there was all mold in the basement, really, really, really bad. When I first moved there, I was trying to be nice and help Stanley, cleaned out the whole laundry room. I, like, literally tried to help him with his property. I don't even know why I ever did that. He threatened me with prosecution for throwing away a $2 light that was broken. Literally, I just raked his whole front lawn. And he sat there and stared at me at the top of the stairs. And then he came down and he was like, you know, and then he sends me an email like, you can be prosecuted, you know, for throwing out landlord stuff. And I was like, what? I was like, Stanley, the light bulb is in the trash, and if you want me to dig it out, I can. It's a $2 light bulb. It was broken. Well, I know for a fact that those were running, and you just threw them away. Like, I was literally trying to help him with his property, and this is the way that he was being. I was like... So anyways, the lease thing was another scenario. So finally I get a lease, right? I read it over, and I'm like, I never really had a lease before, so I was like, oh. It just didn't seem... I don't know. There's some things in it was questionable, so... I signed it in red ink because I wanted to make sure that I would know that was the one that I signed, right? So then he's renewing the leases or something, right? And he gives me another one. And I said, well, can I just have a copy of the first one? I'd like to have both copies so I can compare it. That's all I asked. I said it nicely. I was always polite to him. And he stomped off, and he said right in front of everybody, well, they didn't like me either. It was Ed and his family. They were being weird too. but he stomped off and he said, "I can't stand you." And like he called me a hippie one day. He called me a hippie. He was like, just because I was walking around barefoot, he's like, "You're a hippie," outside his car window. I was like, wow,